Happy New Year, everybody. Today is Friday, January 2nd, 2026. I am going to review the year of 2025 with you guys, Conejo Valley, SIMI Valley, and Moorpark. But first, if you've been following my videos, I just want to give you a quick snapshot of what continues to occur, which is inventory decreasing and a lot of people allowing their listings to expire. So we had 28 new properties come on the market, the coming soons, the new listings in the back on the market. That equals 28. And the active under contracts, expired, cancels, and holds. That was 81. So we had 46 properties expire. All right, let's move over to the year of 2025. And right now we are talking about average sales price. So we can see that prices in Westlake Village in 2025, the average sales price was 1.993, just under $2 million, dollars, and it has dropped down 21.6% over the year. That's a pretty steep decline in prices in Westlake Village. That is on average. In Thousand Oaks, the average price dropped 26%. In Simi Valley, 3.1%, and in Moorpark, it went down almost 22%, 21.9%. All right, let's look at price per square foot. Okay, so in 2025, in January, price per square foot was at $696 in Westlake Village. Thousand Oaks was 586, Simi Valley was 501, and Moorpark was 421. And then we can see in December, the end of December, prices have dropped almost 4% per square foot in Westlake Village down to 670, down 10.4% in Thousand Oaks to 543, and Simi Valley is down almost 9% at 470. Moorpark is down 5.3% at 446. All right, then the other thing that we've been watching and is inventory. This has been the theme of, the year, inventory up, inventory down. Let's take a look at months of supply. So in January, Westlake Village had 3.7 months of supply. Thousand Oaks was 2.3. Simi Valley was 2.6 and Moorpark was 1.6. Then during January, you start to see a steep incline in the total market. And then right around July was the peak for most markets, with the exception of Moorpark, peaked in June. So the peak months of supply in July, Westlake rose to 5.5. Thousand Oaks was at 4.7. Simi Valley was at 4.3. And Moorpark was at 3.3. And then we see everybody start to decline with the exception of November, one little bump month, but down to 2.8 in Westlake Village through the end of December. Thousand Oaks 1.9, Simi Valley 2.5, and Moorpark at 2.0. So we started the year at a very low inventory market with 2.8 months of supply, and then we ended it with almost nearly identical numbers. So the inventory went up and then it came down. What happens next year remains to be seen, but I have a feeling it will be similar numbers. All right, so the original price versus what it sells at in January, it was at 96.5% in Westlake Village. That's the original price versus what it sold at. In Thousand Oaks, 95.6%. In Simi Valley, 98.5%. And in Moorpark, 95.5%. Then we end the year in Westlake at 94.4%, down just 2%. Thousand Oaks is down 2.4% to 94.5%. Simi Valley is down 2.6% to 96.5%. And Moorpark is down 97.4%, which is 0.8%. All right. So that gives you a very good look at what has happened in the market this year. We started with a low inventory. The inventory rose, then it declined. Prices declined. Price per square foot declined. Days on market increased. So we are seeing things, if you remember, 2024 was a low inventory market, much more of a seller's market. We've seen fluctuations between sellers and buyers markets over the last few years since the crazy pandemic years. But we are kind of coming into what looks like a more normal market where, March, April, May, June tend to be the months where the market is heated up. This year, March, April, May, June, we saw a huge increase in inventory, which was just completely unexpected. So I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on what is going to happen this year in 2026 in the real estate market. We are expecting a couple of interest rate reductions from the Fed. How that affects mortgage rates remains to be seen because remember, the federal interest rate is not tied to mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are tied to the 10-year Treasury, all right, and mortgage-backed securities. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Josh Brenner with Compass right here in Westlake Village, California. If you have any interest in buying, selling, or investing in real estate, please give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, get some exercise today, everybody. Make it a great day. Make it a great 2026. See you next time. Bye bye.